What's up, everybody? This is Chris Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of all of your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to check out a former NFL wide receiver that decided he's going to go out and buy himself a car dealership. We're also going to check into Stellantis and see how their leader is under attack by some U.S. dealers. And last but not least, of course, we're going to furry into the presidential debate and check out what they had to say about the automotive industry as much as they did and see our review of the whole event. First up, let's check out a NFL wide receiver decide that he is going to purchase himself a car dealership. So, of course, it's always automotive news. Ex-NFL wide receiver Kevin Johnson buys Ford car dealership. Drafted by the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Johnson ended his football career in Detroit. The dealership acquisition marks Johnson's foray into automotive retail. This is September 10th by Julie Walker. Former NFL wide receiver Kevin Johnson hopes to cut a new route to success with his latest business venture, the acquisition of a Ford dealership in Burlington, New Jersey. Already the owner of Team 85 Fitness and Wellness in the city, Johnson on June 28 purchased Lucas Ford from Hap Lucas, renaming the dealership Johnson Ford. It marks his foray into automotive retail. When this opportunity presented itself, not too far from where I do a lot of my other business, it just was a match made in heaven, said Johnson, who ended his football career on the Detroit Lions roster in 2005 following an injury. Plus, he's familiar with the Ford brand and the family behind it. I love the blue oval, Johnson said. I worked for the Ford family before. Now I'm also working for them again. The Lucas family owned the dealership for close to 50 years, Johnson said, and he's hoping to create a similar legacy for his family. Son Kevin Jr. works at the dealership while son Keyshawn helped in the summer before returning to college, Johnson said. He said he hopes his daughter Samara, who is studying business in college, gets involved. His wife Shanice probably will too, he said, adding that she works with his other businesses, including apartment buildings he builds, manages, and rents out, and his Team 85 Wellness Center. Johnson said permanent posts and titles for his family members are still in play, but the intent is for the dealership to stay a family business. Ideally, that's my succession plan, Johnson said, for these guys to learn the business and be in position to keep it in our family for several decades to come. Lessons from the field. Johnson said lessons from his playing days translate well into automotive space. You focus on the details, Johnson said. You maximize the moment, make sure every T is crossed, every I is dotted, and make sure to continue to press forward. The Cleveland Browns drafted Johnson, who played at Syracuse University, in the second round of the 1999 NFL Draft. He wore a Browns uniform until 2003, then played for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Baltimore Ravens before an Achilles injury in 2005, with the Lions ended his season and ultimately professional playing career. He recorded 384 receptions for 4,595 yards and 25 touchdowns in his pro career, according to ESPN. The former wideout once chatted life and business with Bill Ford Jr., Lions owner, vice chair, and Ford executive chairman, while they both nursed injuries with the Lions within the Lions stratosphere. Johnson said that talk helped influence his decision to buy a dealership, though he's always had an interest and is a lifelong car enthusiast. His car collection numbers 10, and his favorite now is a 2022 Ferrari F8 Spider, but he has eyes for another. I can't wait to receive my Ford GTD, Johnson said, referring to his pre-ordered Mustang. That will be my favorite. That car is amazing. Johnson said he's feeling good about his new store following the transition, but said it's too soon for him to share any expansion plans. He did offer one prediction. Good things are ahead for his former team in Honolulu Blue. He complimented Coach Dan Campbell and efforts on both sides of the ball. The Detroit Lions look to be on the upswing, and they should be Super Bowl bound this year, Johnson said. This is a great year to bleed blue. Stuart McCallum, National Dealership Practice Leader for advisory and accounting firm Witham, represented Johnson in the transaction. All right. So, fantastic for that brother. Of course, me, myself, everybody knows that I hope in the near future to own a dealership myself. But what this shows us really is that this family owned this dealership for over 50 years, and they got out of the business. And that's what we're talking about here. Why, if the Hap Ford team had the business for over 50 years, it was a family business, all these great things, why was it sold? And dealerships are being sold left and right everywhere. I mean, I know because I've been looking at empty dealership lots for almost a year now. And I know that is a big thing for, NFL, NBA players to buy into the automotive industry. My first foray into working in the automotive industry and noticing a former NBA player owning a dealership was Larry Bird Ford in Martinsville, Indiana. Now, I was born and raised in Indiana, so I know a lot about that area, of course. And I've been to French Lick, where Larry Bird's from. I met Larry Bird at like a Chamber Commerce thing or something out there. And he's a great guy, but it always threw me that his dealership is in the most racist city in Indiana. It's down packed. There's no argument about that Martinsville is the most racist city in Indiana. And that's where Larry Bird's dealership is. And I still think it's there to this day. I saw it the last time I was there, if I remember serving me correctly. But, I mean, that was my first forward into, knowing about NBA players or NFL players owning dealerships, former players buying dealerships and starting them as a business. And, it's a great thing if you have the financial fortitude to do that. But it's a bigger statement in the fact that this dealership that was in this family's name for 50 years and they sold. Why did they sell? What did they see that in the future that, Mr. Johnson doesn't see now? Because that would be my ultimate question, and that's a question I always ask, is it a bad location? Was the market bad for Ford or for whatever the brand of vehicle that you're selling from that dealership? These are the important questions that you want to ask when you see that dealerships are closed and you're venturing into buying one. So, shout out to that brother. I hope he does very well with his new acquisition and makes it into a very profitable situation for him. All right, next up, we're going to head over to Stellantis, one of our conversation pieces pretty much every week. And I've been telling you guys forever, as far as so many shows, telling you that I really think that Stellantis is just a corporate raider and that they came in to purchase these companies only to, fake the viability of the companies and then to sell them off in pieces like a corporate raider used to do back in the day. Well, U.S. dealers starting to think the same thing. So let's check this story out at Automotive News. Stellantis U.S. dealers call out CEO Tavares for damaging brands. Dealers also urge the CEO to spend more money to clear old inventory off their lots. And this is from September 11th, 2024. And it's from Bloomberg. Leaders of Stellantis Envy's U.S. dealer network criticized Chief Executive Officer Carlos Tavares for the rapid degradation of the automaker's brand and urged him to spend more money to clear old inventory off their lots. The retailers accused Tavares of short-term decision-making that boosted profits last year and padded the CEO's compensation. The moves ended up shrinking the company's market share and hurting the Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler brands. The National Dealer Council said in an open letter to Tavares dated September 10th. Tavares has been cutting jobs and slashing capacity at American factories since a plunge in the U.S. sales sliced first half earnings nearly in half. Stellantis has taken steps this year to clear vehicle inventories, including cutting prices and bringing back incentives. But those steps have been insufficient as the company tries to protect its prized profit margins, according to dealers. For over 2 years now, the U.S. Stellantis National Dealer Council has been sounding this alarm to your U.S. executive team, warning them that the course you had set for Stellantis was going to be a disaster in the long run, the group said in a letter. A disaster not just for us, but for everyone involved, and now that disaster has arrived. Stellantis didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The letter, which said retailers have been left in an anemic and diminished state, immediately got Tavares' attention, according to a dealer who wished to remain anonymous. Tavares, who happens to be in Detroit now, will have a call with dealer council leadership Thursday to discuss their concerns. This isn't the first letter dealers have sent to Tavares. Dealers laid out their needs in a May letter that led to a meeting with Tavares a few days later. Several dealers' council executives met with Tavares and North American COO Carlos Zarlinga in Detroit, where they brought up issues such as insufficient allocation of desirable trim levels of certain models. Dealers then pressed their case to company executives at a June council meeting in Detroit, where they discussed topics such as pricing, strategy, and incentives. The company responded with a national summer incentive campaign that's discounted many nameplates by up to 2,000. Stellantis also began allowing dealers to order certain vehicles that they couldn't get in recent months, including base models of Grand Cherokee and Wrangler and the more feature-packed Grand Cherokee Limited. More needs to be done, the dealer said, who added that progress was seen last month. But the dealer said inventory needs to be cleared faster. Stellantis brands have among the highest days supply numbers in the industry. Last month, we grabbed a little share back, the dealer said. It looks like we're tracking to grab some additional share back this month, but it's going to take too many months to guess where we really need to be. They ain't grabbing back the market share. The dealer said the company has been taking some actions that are counterproductive. A bigger piece to this is when you factor in the number of other things that they have changed that dramatically affected the dealers. The reduction of marketing funds that they would give us for a co-op and the many other programs, changing how they paid on customer satisfaction to be tied to shipments and not sales, the dealer said. All those things have a detrimental effect on dealer profitability. The newsletter said the bill has come due for the decisions the company made in 2023 to engineer its profits. The dealer told Tavares in the letter that the company's attempt at a soft landing on the backs of your employees, your dealers, and your suppliers is frankly just wrong. All right. So, guys, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Mr. Tavares and Stellantis are just one of those companies. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all, if you're a certain age, you know what I'm talking about. It's just one of those companies that comes in, buys it all out, makes it look real good for a couple of months, brings the profits up for a couple of months, and then starts chopping heads, selling pieces off to here, pieces off there. It's a corporate raider situation. It is a common corporate raider situation. I've seen it. I've done it. I've been it. It's there, and that's what they're doing. It's. I mean, you knew when they caved for the UAW situation that it wasn't good. You can't. There's no way with the market share loss that they've had seen before that. They were seeing market share loss before the UAW situation. And then to come into the UAW situation and to pretty much give it all up, should have told you that they knew that something like this was happening. They knew that they was going to have to cut jobs at factories. They knew that all these people that were in the UAW, that were working at these factories, it ain't going to matter after a couple of months, but they ain't going to have these, because they ain't going to have their jobs. It ain't going to matter that we gave them a raise. It ain't going to matter that we told them they could work 4 days a week, because they ain't going to have no jobs, because we're going to cut jobs at their factory. And that's exactly what happened, and it continues to happen. It continues to happen. We continue to talk about the job losses, the cutting of the factories, the factories that are being built with workless workers. There was another story I wanted to do about Toyota, but I'm going to save that for later. But Stellantis has been such a destructive force when it comes to Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram that it's very, very sad. It is very, very sad. I'm a big Dodge fan. I'm a big Dodge guy. And it's sad. It's really sad. I honestly foresee that Stellantis is going to chop this up into itty bitty pieces. And really, I honestly think that BYD is going to come in and scoop up a portion of it and use that to integrate themselves into the automotive industry here in the U.S. It's going to happen. I foresee it. It's going to happen, man. I'm telling you. So, don't say I didn't tell y'all. If you're working at a factory over at Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep or something, go talk to Mr. Johnson at Ford. This is not looking good for you. All right, so last but not least, of course, all of us, I know we all did. We all enjoyed a 2024 presidential debate yesterday, and I didn't enjoy it. I debated in high school. I debated in college for a little while. I understand the concept of debate. I understand somebody taking the pro and somebody taking the con. Understand, how making a negative and a negative into a positive. This presidential debate was nothing more than a whole bunch of mudslinging and a whole bunch of side talking from both people. I've always said that no politician can always tell the truth. All politicians are liars to some degree, and in some degrees they're forced to be liars because they have to tell you the good stuff to get you to put them in the office, and it's just par for the course. It's not a good course. So we watched this debate. Didn't enjoy much of it. Wasn't nothing new said. I guess dogs and cats is getting ate in Ohio. We know for a fact that Colorado was overrun by migrants. Miss Harris went over her plan. The only problem I had with her plan was that none of the things that she is talking about initiating in her plans affects the people around or people that I know directly. I was really looking for them to dig down on how they were going to fix inflation, how they were going to fix the interest rates, how they were going to deal with the tariffs, and they did a little bit. So we're going to go over what they did talk about as it goes to the automotive industry, Sean Fain, all that kind of good stuff, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here.
It's either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as Vice President over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been Vice President. We have invested.
Now, I'm going to stop right there because I've debunked that several times about the manufacturing jobs being created, and I pointed out several situations where manufacturing jobs have been lost. So, I hope that I really hope that there are manufacturing jobs that I'm not seeing that are somewhere else that people are getting, because as far as I can see in my studies and in my job here, I don't see any manufacturing jobs. But let's keep going.
Invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing.
And another thing, that's pretty much my stick here. Talking about factories that are opening, talking about factories that are closing. I'm not seeing a lot of factories opening, and I want that. I really believe that a portion of the tariff situation could be corrected, just like how China does. If you get products over there or start to use them for products, they take a portion. And my idea is kind of the same thing. What I would think that would be a good idea would be for these companies that want to sell their products here to bring some of the manufacturing for their products over here for parts, dealerships, whatever it may be, but provide, not only use America as a way to make capital, but a way to produce capital for America. Let's keep going.
Jobs, he lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving.
It's true.
They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many
That's true.
cases owned by China.
That's true. Just go back a couple of episodes of my show and you'll see that that's very true. That's very true. BYD is building in Mexico. Now, they put a stop to it until after this election because they understand that how this election goes is going to be how NAFTA goes, and it's going to be how they will go when it comes to bringing their BYD vehicles over into America. So everybody understands that BYD was building that factory over in Mexico, not only to produce those vehicles in Mexico and sell them in Mexico, but to cross the border with them to sell them to us. Let's keep going.
They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina.
Those bars, man. I mean, everything he's saying is so true. It's everything I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that, the influx of BYD is inevitable. The influx of Chinese cars is inevitable. So we have to make sure that we work in a way that we make sure we not only profit, but benefit from it. I can't say he said anything wrong. Everything he's saying, I have factually proven in shows that you can go back and see.
Carolina or any other place, what they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing.
All right. And it just went on and on like that. And it was, I understand the concept of a debate. I understand that, really a debate is not to sway anybody to vote for the other person's party. It's pretty much to show the people that are already voting for you that you know what you're talking about. But that's not what happened here. This is just a whole bunch of mudslinging and conceptualizing and talking about the color of people's skins and eating dogs. And it wasn't a fruitful debate that proved anything for anybody. If you already were a Kamala Harris person, then you're still a Kamala Harris person. If you are already a Trump person, you're still a Trump person. This debate did not change that. But when it comes to what we just reviewed, pretty much we have proven over the course of my last couple of shows that what Ms. Harris was saying was incorrect, and that what Trump was saying is correct. We saw more than 10,000 jobs lost over the last month at different factories. We saw a couple thousand software jobs lost at another dealership or company. We've seen dealerships close down. We've reported on several factories in Detroit that have lost employees. So we know that what he was saying was true. We know that what she was saying in this instant was not true. And that's just how these debates have been going. I believe that I know that a lot of the automotive industry, specifically like he was speaking about BYD and even Sean Fan and the Big Three, a lot of these companies are waiting to see which president takes over. And me myself, I always say that no matter who is in office, then you have to work around them. And I always say this to people, and let me vent for a little bit. After this debate, Facebook, Instagram, all you saw was just all this negative stuff, people talking about the handshake and how he was sweating on the lip and how she was nervous and stuttering and how she had an earpiece on. And then on top of that, what really bothers me is those posts that people were like, oh, if you are going to vote for the orange, whatever, don't unfriend me. And if I have a family member that's going to vote for Kamala Harris, then she's not a real family member of mine. This is ridiculous, bro. And this happened, the last time the Trump presidency? And here's my thought for you guys. Are y'all going to ruin relationships again over a presidency again? Because that's what happened last time. Relationships were lost. People went to Thanksgiving dinner fighting, went to Christmas not buying each other presents because one was voting for Trump and one was voting for Harris. Please pull back from that shit. This is what I'm saying to y'all. Trump supporters, what are y'all gonna do if Kamala Harris wins? Kamala Harris supporters, what are y'all gonna do if Trump wins? You know what y'all gonna do? Nothing. You're gonna sit there and take whatever situation that you're dealt with, because that's what life is. That's what life is, and you're gonna deal. So please do not burn bridges, do not destroy relationships, and do not hurt feelings over this situation. Because in all honesty, whoever's in the office really doesn't run it. There's still Congress. All right, my friends, I'm going to go and get up out of here. It's always a pleasure. Please check out my show, like, subscribe, share. Hit me in the DMs. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. And I'm out. Peace.